I'm curious, we get a lot of questions from the audience that they want us to ask you. And so I go through all of them and pick a few ones that are interesting. And one guy named Hal, he asked about quantum entangled communications.
Okay.
And this, yeah, right. I know. I was like, this will be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to quiz you on the physics of quantum entangled communications, but the question I extracted from his question was, I would like a little insight and you to speak a little bit about how stuff goes from the lab to our hands and the commercialization process. How long does that generally take? And yeah, just a few thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, so it's interesting. I don't know much about that quantum computing stuff and networking. I have seen some demos. It seems really cool, but it also seemed like they needed to do it like in ultra cold,
a lab.
Yeah, exactly. So
it works in the lab, I promise.
Yeah, if it's really, really cold. But who knows? There's a lot of smart people working on it. Maybe we'll see something there. But generally, it depends on the technology. So if I take something like 4G or 5G, that's driven a lot by standards bodies and a lot of engineers and technical people working together to come up with standards, decide how things are going to work. Then typically vendors, they will take those specs, they'll build, chipsets, software, gear, and then we'll typically go and put that in our labs. We'll run it through the paces, typically iterate on that a little bit, and then it's ready for prime time. We'll go do some FOAs, which is first office application. We'll test it in the field, and then at some point, we'll say it's ready for prime time. We'll start deploying and then selling to customers. So that's generally if you're talking something like 4G or 5G, and the reason it needs to be like that is because all of these systems need to work together. So, and people need to be able to take say, for instance, a cell phone from the United States and go to Europe, and it needs to work. So the standard setting process is very important. Now, there's other things we do if we're coming up with a new product or service. And that's a little different because in that area, really what we're trying to do is come up with interesting services for our customers, whether it be consumer or enterprise, what have you. And typically what we try and do is we look at what is kind of some of the groundbreaking tech that's out there. And then we try and figure out how, is this some kind of tech that we can use in-house and integrate it with some other things we have and, apply technology to solve issues for our customers. So kind of two different models for, how we develop new things. And they have different timelines too, obviously.